Welcome back to the Linux for Beginners series. Imagine you try to start a Linux service, but it fails. Or maybe an SSH login does not work. Or a website suddenly stops responding. How do Linux administrators find out what went wrong? They don't guess, they check the log files. In this lesson, we will learn what Linux log files are, where they are stored, and how to use them to troubleshoot problems. A log file is a record of events that occur on a Linux system. Whenever something important happens, such as a user logging in, a service starting, or an error occurring, Linux records that information in a log file. Think of log files as the system's diary. They help us understand what happened and when it happened. Whenever something goes wrong, the first place a Linux administrator looks is the logs. The problem: something stops working. The next step is to read logs, that is, check what the system recorded. Next is find the cause. Look for errors and warning messages. The fourth step is to fix the problem, correct the issue, and verify that it's resolved. Logs help us replace guessing with evidence. Most traditional Linux log files are stored in /var/log directory. The /var/log/syslog is the directory that stores general system activity, specifically in Ubuntu. The directory /var/log/messages stores general system messages for RHEL-based systems. /var/log/auth.log stores login and authentication events. /var/log/dmesg stores kernel and hardware messages. Different Linux distributions may use different log file names, but the /var/log directory is the usual starting point. Modern Linux distributions also maintain a centralized journal using systemd journalctl. Instead of opening individual log files, we can use the journalctl command to search and filter system logs. Many administrators use both traditional log files and the systemd journal. The cat command displays the entire contents of a file. It is useful for small log files. The less command lets us scroll through large log files page by page. Tail shows the most recent log entries. Tail-f keeps watching the file and displays new entries as they are written. Journalctl command reads logs from the system journal. This simple workflow is followed by Linux administrators every day. Rather than trying random solutions, we first collect information from the logs, identify the root cause, fix it, and then verify that the problem has been resolved. Let's begin by exploring the directory where Linux stores many of its log files. cd/var/log. In this directory, we can see files like syslog, kernel.log, dpkglog, bootlog, authlog, etc. The cat command displays the complete contents of a file. For example, cat/var/log/syslog. This works well for small files, but many log files become very large. The less command lets us move through large files one page at a time. For example, less/var/log/syslog. We can use down arrow to move down in the log file and up arrow to move up in the log file. We can use spacebar to scroll page by page, and we can search for words like SSH using /SSH in the log file. This helps us find specific words in the log file easily. Type Q to quit. This is one of the most frequently used commands when reading logs. When troubleshooting, we are usually interested in the latest events rather than the entire log file. For that, we can use tail command. An example is tail / var log syslog. The tail command displays the last few lines of the file. Now let's watch the log files as new events happen. For that, the command is tail-f and the log file name, for example, /var/log/syslog. In terminal 2, let's run a command sudo systemctl restart ssh. Notice that new log entries appear immediately. After restarting the SSH service. This is extremely useful when diagnosing services that are starting, stopping, or generating errors. Let's verify another service. Sudo systemctl stop nginx and sudo systemctl start nginx. We can see that the entries immediately appear in real time using the command tail-f in the syslog log file. Type Ctrl+C to quit. Modern Linux systems maintain a centralized journal that stores log files from services, the kernel, and other components. And the command to view system journal is journalctl. We can use spacebar to scroll through pages, or we can use up and down arrows also. Press Q to quit. Instead of displaying thousands of entries, we can view only the latest 20. And command for that is journalctl -n space 20. This is often the first command administrators use during troubleshooting. Press Q to quit. We can filter the journal to show logs for a particular service, for example SSH, and the command for that is journalctl -u space the service name, for example SSH, and we can see all the logs related to the SSH service. Press Q to exit. Sometimes we are only interested in events that occurred today. Following command filters the journal accordingly. Journalctl -since today. We can see the logs for today's date. The -f option continuously display new journal entries as they are created, similar to tail-f. And the command is journalctl-f. In the second terminal, let's restart the SSH service, and the command for that is sudo systemctl restart SSH. And we can see that the logs appear in the real time on the terminal 1. We can also verify stopping and starting nginx service. Sudo systemctl stop nginx and start nginx 2. And we can see that logs appearing in the real time on terminal 1. To quit, press Ctrl+C. Here are few common mistakes to avoid. Reading the wrong log file, forgetting to use sudo when required, using cat on very large log files, ignoring timestamps, looking at old entries instead of recent ones. Here is a quick reference of today's commands. Feel free to pause the video and save this slide for future reference. Let's summarize what we learned today. Linux records important system events in log files. Logs are one of the most valuable troubleshooting tools. Traditional logs are commonly stored in /var/log directory. Journalctl provides access to the systemd journal. Commands like less, tail, and journalctl-f make it easier to investigate problems efficiently. Now that we know how to investigate problems using log files, the next step is learning how to automate routine tasks. In the next lesson, we will explore cron jobs and learn how Linux can run commands automatically on a schedule. Thank you for watching. If you found this lesson helpful, please like the video and subscribe to follow the complete Linux for Beginners series. And I will see you in the next lesson.